Today on Matters of Fact, a new international study has delivered a rather disturbing news. The Philippines ranked worst in reading comprehension among 79 countries. 15-year-old Filipinos are also second to the last in science and math, besting only the Dominican Republic in the 2018 Program for International Student Assessment, or PISA.
What is reading?
What is reading?
What is reading?
What is reading?
What is reading? What is reading?
So a common way to think about reading is that it is the product of decoding and language comprehension. So decoding is one's ability to apply the alphabetic principle to crack the code that hides words behind letters and sounds. On the other hand, language comprehension is your vocabulary skill, your grammar skill, your ability to comprehend complex narratives as they unfold over time. And so we view reading as the product of both of those things, one's ability to crack the code or decode, and one's ability to comprehend language. So if we view reading as the product of decoding and language comprehension, you could think of a circumstance in which a child has weak skills in either one of those dimensions. For instance, a child could be a weak decoder. And if you're a weak decoder, and yet you have good language comprehension, if reading is the product of decoding and language comprehension, the child would still be a poor reader. And the converse is also true. If you have a child who has very good decoding skills but very poor language comprehension, based on the simple view of reading, we would view them as not being a good reader. So if we view a skilled reader as having skills in both decoding and language comprehension, what we want to do is backtrack into the preschool years and think about how we can build those skills that are forerunners or precursors to future decoding and language comprehension success. Skills like print knowledge, phonological awareness, vocabulary, those are considered precursory skills to future decoding and language comprehension ability.
Does it make you dance when you're drunk with your friends at a party? What's your favorite song? Does it make you smile? Do you think of me? When you close your eyes, tell me, what are you dreaming? Everything I want.
Series junkies. They love binge reading, and their favorite bookish hobby is waiting at midnight release parties. When their favorite series ends, they are more likely to reread it than they are to pick up a book without at least one sequel. Literary snobs. Everyone knows that person who only reads highbrow literature. They'd rather pore over prose translations than pick up a romantic paperback, or worse, a young adult novel. They are above that kind of reading. The polygamist reader. You might have trouble keeping track of more than one story at once, but there is a certain type of reader who loves to juggle multiple books at once. Their nightstand is their television queue. They like to keep things interesting, and multitasking is their most favorite hobby. The movie adaptation lover. Most readers will say that books are always better than their adaptations. But there are some readers who like seeing the movie before reading the original book. Whether they like picturing the actress when they read or just prefer watching surprises unfold over reading about them. The partial reader. Try as they might, there are just some readers who are incapable of finishing what they started. No matter how invested they are in the beginning, they eventually lose interest, get distracted, or simply move on to the next book. The problem is, they never get to the end of a book. The physical book loyalists. Many types of readers say they prefer physical books over ebooks and audiobooks, but there's a group of readers who live and die by printed and bound books. The rereaders. While some people are thrilled at the prospect of a new book, for others, nothing could be worse than leaving their reading comfort zone for the unknown. These are the rereaders, the people who like to read the old Harry Potter book, then visiting the new releases sections of the book. Nonfiction lovers. All readers love getting lost in a good book, but some people prefer the stories grounded in facts. They love reading something that will teach them something, like life lessons and wisdom. Fiction fanatics. On the other side of the aisle are the fiction fans, the readers who are in it for the imagination, make-believe, and fictional characters. They don't know why people read nonfiction, because to them, the real stories are the ones invented in the minds of great fiction authors. The emotional reader. Most readers experience a stirring of emotions when they read, but some of them truly feel all the feels. They get giddy when characters fall in love, and it isn't beneath them to fall into a funk when a favorite character dies.
How does the reading brain work? Reading is a complex process. It requires different areas of the brain to be activated in a coordinated and synchronized way, just like an orchestra, to maximize our ability to decode written text. The temporal lobe, located towards the lower back of the brain, is the area of the brain responsible for discriminating speech sounds. Misperception of the smallest part of speech, a phoneme, can completely change the meaning of a word or sentence. Listen to fair and ver in the words fan and van. The consonant part of these syllables is heard for only a fraction of a second at the onset of the words. But misperception of this swift sound can have huge implications when listening to instructions and information. Children who have problems differentiating speech sounds at the phonemic level will struggle with phonological awareness and with decoding words. The frontal lobe, located at the front of the brain with the left and right half, is involved in many functions, such as movement, decision-making, problem-solving, planning, and memory. The left half is language-related and is responsible for speech production, reading fluency, grammatical usage, and comprehension of grammar. Children with grammatical comprehension problems also have difficulty with prefixes, suffixes, and complex grammatical sentences. The angular gyrus, situated at the core of the brain near the back and top side of the temporal lobe, functions as a reading integrator. It is the hub that helps us convert visual input to audio output. If this part of the brain is not well developed, the child may not be able to relate the letters S-A-T to the word set, even though he might have used that word many times. These brain areas do not work in isolation. They act as parts of the brain's network. When you strengthen one area, it improves the entire network. Conversely, if you do not use an area, it weakens and falls into disrepair, just like an abandoned building.
It's my baby, it's my love. Touching you slowly.